All right, hello, welcome back. So I want to talk about weapon customization a little bit. So you need to advance the story to Guadosalam, and with Rikku in the party, which you can't avoid getting her anyway. As the tutorial showed, it's kind of bare bones. It only tells you the absolute basics. What you really need to know is the specific slot amount as well as the items. As you can see, we have some items here we can put in. Auto Phoenix is actually something required for turbo leveling in the monster arena. When we get to the monster arena, I'll go over and explain that strategy, as it's honestly really required. It's got synergy that for some other passive abilities. Now you notice these are 1 slots, and they all have almost all of them are either 1 slot or 2, maybe 3. But what you're looking for is actually a 4-slot item. 4-slot items serve 2 different purposes. We don't have any in the inventory right now, but there will be parts upcoming where you can gain access to 4-slot items. Now, the reason why you want 4-slot is, first off, they sell very nicely. A 4-slot weapon or armor with no abilities on it will sell for about 25,000. There are points in the game where you can just turbo farm these off of enemies. Secondly, the ability you put onto it will cause its value to shoot up. If I remember correctly, the big farm strat is to put auto regen on there, and it shoots it up to something like 100,000. So you get a 4-slot item from the vendor for around, I think, 50,000. I can't remember the exact amount. So I'm kind of guessing on how much it was. It's like it may actually be 75,000 from the vendor for a pure 4-slot item. Then you put auto regen on it, and then it shoots it up to 250,000. Again, these numbers I haven't done it in years, but generally speaking, that's one of the farm strats. You get the item, put a very high-priced ability on it, and then you sell it, and it's a crap amount of money, even after the cost of the item. So basically, you look for 4-slot items. You can mimic some of the celestial weapons, but you won't have the piercing property, even if you get all of the abilities that the celestial weapon has. So for mid and late game bosses, there are some that are just heavily armored, and you can't really fight the Dark Aeons without piercing weapon. They are heavily armored by default. And something else to note is the celestial weapons fully upgraded have bonus abilities depending on what you're doing. For example, Titus will have a higher auto attack the closer he is to max health, full hit points, while Uron will do the inverse. The closer he is to hit point critical, the more damage he does on autos. And there is a point where you can get your strength up so high that it doesn't matter, that you will always do 9,999 damage. It is possible to mimic the celestial weapons except for their special property of piercing and their character-specific ability. That is something you want to know. You should know about customization. It's actually a very strong thing, and it's the big thing in this game. Why you don't really see stuff like in Final Fantasy IX, for example, where armor upgrades are clear. An armor from Disc 1 is not equal to an armor from Disc 4. Here, it just behaves more like Final Fantasy VIII, to where there are no defensive stats except for abilities and status effects. 8 didn't use armor, and it was all about your weapon. What was the other Final Fantasy that behaved like that? To a degree, it's also similar to the garment grid in Lightning Returns, where some of them had defensive abilities built in, and you could put defensive abilities on, but it was really not much difference between starter gear and in-game gear or stats. Weapons actually did matter, but I don't remember. Weapons and shields mattered, but not the actual armors. But again, it's been a while since I did that, so yeah. But, this does mark an anomaly in the franchise. Mind you, I have not played 15 or 16, so I don't know how the weapons and armor work there. So if it works this way in 15 or 16, then I'm wrong. I will say I do not know 100% how the weapons and armor work there. I assume they work more like previous games, where different armors give different defensive stats. But here, 10 is an anomaly in that it doesn't matter what your armor equipped is, but what the stats are. I suppose in that case it actually behaves more like Dark Souls, in the sense of you're mixing and matching stuff there anyway for your ideal role, and so you can end up using lighter armor even against mid and late game opponents. But yeah, that is the customization. It's honestly more in depth than it seems. And so, if I remember correctly, if you put a encounter none item on somebody who's not in the active party, then you get access to the ability, even if it's not actually in there. If we put it on Lulu, for example, we should have it even though she's not in the active party. That's another oddity if I remember right. First off, let's take care of our spear grid real quick. Got to do this before we start it up here. Yep. Put in a unit there. Notice Yuna and Oron just have, it's because we haven't been hitting the hit point nodes yet. And they get access to stuff, hit point nodes a lot earlier than Titus normal. We don't have level 3 spears, so we can't go jump over the air. Notice there are two different ways into that grid. The level 4 one will get us to those nodes quicker, whereas the level 3 ones will take longer, but it also takes us into Oron's grid. So something to consider. And see, deep in here we start seeing a bunch of hit point spears clustered together. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit. Most likely we're going to use Thunder Plains, or let's see, what's up? Thunder Plains? Macalania, yeah, it might be Macalania for farming, or at least grinding, because you are going to be coming up against another wall boss of sorts. And when you get to Macalania Temple, you have boss fights, and they're ones known to be a little bit rough for newcomers.
Stay close.
This way, please.
Not much to do here, except try to leave. Obviously you can't. You're stuck waiting and waiting. Hey, has that thing always been swinging around? Pretty much just wandering around, interacting with things. Oh, there's Rikku. That's the one we're missing. Couldn't see her there. Guess you gotta talk to everybody, then you can move on. Let's get ball cutscene, unfortunately.
This sphere is a reconstruction created from the thoughts of the dead that wander the far.
And it looks like the cutscene skip isn't working either.
Xanarkin?
Correct. Xanarkin. As it looked 1,000
Whoa!
years ago.
Okay, now it's working. What? This mod's a little bit buggy sometimes. There we go. Yeah. Again, this mod is a little bit buggy, so you're probably going to see this. Like it was showing us on the cutscene skip, and we saw the speed move around, but then decided, nah, it's not actually skipping cutscenes. We just said this is about another 10 minutes worth. That's the thing about the Final Fantasies; they have lengthy cutscenes. Still, it's not like it's Metal Gear. Oh yeah, I took that shot.
Yuna, the Heist, married in the name of Yevon.
They still can't leave yet. This is actually because you're supposed to go to the Farplane. Wrong ramp.
Question about this when somebody do dead people live there?
This is an early warning about something going on with him.
You're still here.
See you later.
Now, there's a number of things that going on here. Again, if you're playing the second time around, you notice these things. Go into it in a moment. Get him in there. We're just going to let that, go for a moment so we can talk. Now, Oron not going in is because for an unsent, which he is revealed to be not long after this, or right about the time you get to Xanarkin Ruins, he's revealed to be unsent. And the unsent going in there don't like that. They do not like it. They react badly to it. Rikku, hints at something not being off about, she hints at something being off here because Bhed don't believe in this sort of thing. Not to mention, there's also a couple of things about this. One, fireflies here only show memories of the dead, aka a person has to be confirmed dead, as in the faith know they're dead, because the Farplane is deeply connected to the faith.
And the faith, stop thinking about Yuna.
The state of Farplane,
they look so
and how it can be influenced by emotions and more is further explored in 10.2.
Make Yuna really consider
only
Seymour's
dead
proposal.
people can be actually show up here because the fireflies need someone dead in order to be able to mimic them, from what my understanding is.
Why don't you try calling?
Yo, chap, meant to come see you earlier, yeah?
Why don't you try calling? So, Yuna?
Fireflies can mimic his mother because, again, they know him. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe the fireflies are mimic, are influenced by the faith. There's a lot of things here that are not answered correctly. Rather, I should say correct. They're not answered or addressed. Period. Now, I think we may have skipped it because of the cutscene, but... Okay, so we may have skipped it because of the cutscene skip, but talking to Lulu here is an early foreshadowing to a side quest she's involved in, which is actually part of the side quest to recruit, Yojimbo. Also, we ended up skipping that little scene option. It was basically to point out that they, what everybody was thinking in the party, that Jisco was killed by Seymour.
Meet with Maester Seymour.
May have skipped it. Seymour meeting Oron, he mentions scent of death, another foreshadowing about him being on scent. I think we missed that cut. Yep. Sorry, I think the cutscene skip made us miss a potential choice. You can tell Shalinda whether or not he's marrying her. May have missed that option.
I too will go to.
Yep, that's our next destination, Macalania. Unfortunately, we missed a little moment. I think we missed a little moment about him calling it the Macalania Temple. Then putting on a what was it? A Spanish accent, maybe? Yeah. Well, as a fun fact, the Dunder planes here were referenced in Eden's verse raids, with the removal counter taking place on something called the Dunder planes, with these in the background. And that's not the only area that was later reused in 14.
The lightning is drawn to them, meaning we should avoid.
Also, as a fun note, these towers are malfunctioning during the events of 10, but they can be repaired in 10 too. And this is a minigame that is also known as one of the absolute most obnoxious in this game. And that's saying something, considering it actually is something much worse. Absolute god-awful minigame will be later when we get to the Calmland. Let's get over here. Okay, so if you look at that little glowing stone, that is related to Kimahri's Celestial Weapon quest. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's here you get the weapon, and then you get his sigil in elsewhere. You get the sigil in either sigil or the crest. It's one or two. You get one of them inside, the upcoming area. Honestly, I don't really bother much with Kimahri, so it's, yeah. I'm sorry, Kimahri fans, he just never really did anything for me.
Whoa! Stop kidding around. Do you have a room of it? Ah, lady, thank you.
Now, something interesting about what's going on there is that Rikku's, she gets over this fear by the time of 10-2. However, in this game, she actually does react if she gets hit by lightning spells at any point after this, story moment. And it's stemming from an accident when she was young. Oh. Yeah, it stems from an accident when she was young, and her brother, the big, the supervising, I'll bet you see early on, he used a Dunder spell to run off a fiend and traumatize her because he hit her instead. Also, that little book we just read will tell us, gives us a hint about the Cactuar stones.
What?
I would skip this, but this is actually an important story. This
what
is also
I-
saying something's up with Yuna, that she knows more than she's letting on.
It's nothing really. I just,
Basically, watches the spear, and the spear feels that Disco knew Seymour was treacherous. He knew it, and that's what he recorded the spear before he was killed by Seymour. And he effectively hung around the Farplane.
Wasn't that
Also, I forgot to point this out. There was, if we didn't skip that cutscene, there was another hint about something wrong with Oron.
The sphere
Because
is
when
his will.
Yuna does ascending to
It
send
says,
Disco
"Take care
to
of my
peace,
son."
fireflies start forming around Oron, which indicate either a fiend or an unsent.
His son, Seymour?
One of those, if you're not paying attention, or if you don't someone doesn't tell you, you might not notice
I know
it.
one way to take care of him.
But he's kind of blatant about it. He grunts.
I'm sorry.
You can start seeing the fireflies.
Huh?
What do you think you're up to?
Yuna was acting funny.
Yeah. She'll tell us when she's ready.
We'll skip it. This is actually kind of funny. Watching him get put in a headlock like WWE.
All right.
And there's a lot of questions about the unsent that are not really answered. Mostly, it's brought up constantly how people will send unsent or recently dead so they don't become fiends. But it does never explain whether or not an unsent will automatically progress to being a fiend. Like the thief problem in the 13 mythos. If a thief fails their goal, they become a thief. If they delay putting off their goal, they'll eventually become thief. This is actually touched on constantly during the story of 13. That as the Lassie brand progresses, that eventually, if they don't accomplish their focus, they will end up becoming, a roving undead, monster. Similar thing exists here with the unsent, but it's never specified how long will it take for an unsent. They don't achieve their goal, or do they need a goal? Because there are some. It's hard to tell because they can actually send themselves whenever they want. You see an unsent story that just gives up and sends himself away. So you don't actually need a summoner to do it. Again, there's a lot of things that the 10 mythos never explains, or if they do, you have to get the Ultimania book. I can only tell you what I remember.
It's not.
Don't tell me you were hoping it would.
Certainly an interesting idea, because you got Oron here, and he only accepts sending when Sin is defeated. And it's implied that an unsent can actively reject sending.
You could be more
But there's not that many occasions in the game where an unsent is
just don't get me at all, do you?
able to be forcibly sent.
Are you listening?
It's always implied that they end up achieving their mission, then they get sent. Like with Jisco,
I'm not scared.
he had to get out proof of his,
I'm not scared. You hear?
his murdered out. Then he was sent away, but there's nothing indicating you couldn't just say, "Nah, screw you, I'm staying," even if you try it. So there's a lot of questions that these games pose, but they don't answer, or if they do, you have to buy a special knowledge book. Okay, I think I remember now. It may have been auto regen for the easy one to get, but something rare like a ribbon or death proof, those sell immensely well. Elemental immunities are kind of okay, but they don't sell very well unless they're part of a 4-slot item. But a 4-slot item with ribbon, which is very hard stats effect to get, or a death proof, or auto regen or something, an automatic high tier spell. Oh. Yeah, they'll sell very nicely. And also, if you decide to do Kimahri's celestial weapon quest here, there's 2 areas of the cactar stones, and I heavily recommend putting on encounter none, either by booster or buy item. Trust me, it's gonna suck trying to do that on top of the dodging the lightning bolts and deal with the monsters. And again, mod is great, man. I'm telling you, this mod is great. It cuts out, again, like I said, it's not the, it was the first mod, right? Where I said 10 was the last major game by cutscene skip. They introduced it in 10 too, and that's also where they started introducing the new game, plus in the main Final Fantasy. At that point, it existed in certain games like Chrono Trigger. Of course, there it was actually required to access other alternate endings. You couldn't. It was, well, if I remember correctly, Chrono Trigger could not be done for all endings on a clean save. You had to use at least, there was at least 1 or 2 that had to be done in New Game Plus only because of specific requirements. At least those. Anyway, Macalania Woods. You'll see. So this is the last area for the Macalania Temple, and the temple itself is pretty cool. It's also got one of the more annoying puzzles. And like I said in Jose, it's probably the most annoying one.
It's funny how
at least the Bevelle one is required as part of the story.
Maybe it was because I'd realized that Yuna wasn't marrying Seymour for love.
Okay, what was I going to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually an area that we used in 14.
That's what
but
I
it's
kept
hard
telling
to
myself anyway.
notice it because it's not an obvious reason.
I realized that Yuna and I'd never,
Now in 14, I got to name the area, but it's the area with the, Mamuk Jaws. That entire area is one huge blue forest. And it's got crystal areas and crystal and ice areas, and it's very much meant to evoke being the Macalania Woods of 14. Especially considering how many themes of memory and more, living beyond death and all that are part of the Dawn Trail story. Yeah, again, it's the name. I think it's the third area, like maybe fourth. Either way, it is, the Macalania Woods. And it's one of those that you wouldn't notice unless someone pointed it out. I think I did when we reached those in the Dawn Trail MSQ. I think I did point out how it was very Macalania Woods-like. Oh, and by the way, if you touch the butterflies here, you start off with a little minigame, which is required for one of Kimahri's ingredients. Also, this is the area where you get access to celestial weapons. You have to progress the story a little bit in order for the NPCs to show up back at the start. And then you'll get access to a little side quest. You do the side quest, go all the way back to the big altar-like area in here, and you'll gain access to the cloudy mirror. See? Now, and that side quest, honestly, I think we will show it when we get access to it, because it is something you want to do as soon as possible. Because the sooner you can start looking for them, the better, and the sooner you can upgrade those weapons, the better. Not much variety here right now. And you can ask him, if he says, what do we say? He'll reduce his price.
Welcome.
Payments is this. So he slashed it down by 25%. We could use an extent.
Welcome.
Notice, it shows like a, this is actually an area we get access to after the events of Bevelle. But that is actually eventually a shortcut. Oh, no, this is the area I'm thinking of, isn't it?
What's here?
Now, this is where, you'll remember I told you before about how Auron learns new overdrives, right?
It won't take long.
This is how. After you reach this point, he opens up a passage, and you start, the Jecht spears start spawning. There's one, remember correctly, Jecht spears are the same as the primers in the sense that there's one in every major story area. I believe there's one all the way back in the Sade. Really, you only need, honestly, you really, unless you go for the achievement, really only need to go up to the Banishing Blade. Because the Banishing Blade is his best one. It's the one you're going to be using the absolute most in the mid and late game. Anyway, here comes a boss. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to talk about Titus's weapon. After the events of, after the Farplane sequence, you now have it upgraded. You have plus 15% strength overall. You have Sensor and Water Strike. Elemental strikes this early are actually kind of hard to find, especially on a weapon for Titus, unless you're going out of your way to find weapons that do that. Plus, you get access to Sensor on a free weapon, and that means you now have a Sensor available at all times, except against bosses in Aeon. Well, some bosses, I should say. Aeons are immune to Sensors. And I think rare enemies are also immune. So, yeah. Keep that in mind that Water Strike means if you're going against a ice-strong enemy, you are going to be absorbing it. Hits are going to absorb. However, this doesn't apply to overdrives. Overdrives, best way to describe it. Think of it, if you're a League player, think of it like true damage. Overdrives deal true damage. So even against something that's physically resistant or magically resistant, a character doing that damage type will still do fairly strong damage. It is like true damage, but you still need to have your weapon stats up and all that. So it's something to think about.
This place.
Okay, so this is a boss that's immune to Sensors. Basically, you need to wait for him to attack, and then you can, start, fighting back. You have to figure out you have to see what he does, and use his opposite element. We have three elemental summons. Well, technically two. We have one for fire and electric, but we also need to see what his element is. I think, remember right, his starting element is always random. Basically, he does one of two things. He'll do either a auto attack like that, or he'll do an attack based on his current element, which is again a hint as to what you should do you're using against him. This is if you have a level 2 abilities on Lulu, this is a great battle for her. He absorbs water. He's electric weak. Then now Ixion. Oh, and as a side note, Ixion appears repeatedly in 14 as a very rare Fate boss, and as the Feral Soul of Eutrope in the Arcadian raids, where she looks like Void Raging and Soraka. I'm not even kidding. Go look it up. Okay, so every time you hit him with an element, he shifts. Be careful, because you do not know what it is until he does it. Ixion is like, oh, that's the good stuff. And just like if you can use this trick to heal up and just tank it till you get overdrive. Don't know what his weakness is, so let's just get call Ixion out. Okay, so he still absorbs. He's fire weak. Sorry, he's fire strong. We don't have access to, Shiva yet, so we can't attack that weakness. We could actually call in Lulu. We can. So we're probably going to send Auron out. Auron is not going to be very much useful in this fight just because, yeah. This is, however, a great fight for Lulu fans if you have level 2 or higher somehow. It would be incredibly unlikely to have level 3 spells unless you're hyper grinding somehow or straight cheating. I had to be honest. You are either doing some insane and neat grinding at this point, which is not something I'd recommend, even with overcharge and all that. Because at some point, you're going to run out of those spears. But it's either hyper neat grinding or you're straight up cheating. What we are going to do here is just, again, it is very likely, and honestly, you should try to shoot for level 2 spells on her at this point. But yeah, it would be amazing if you have access to that. So we gotta wait for his ability. What is he using now? If he shifts to either ice or water, swap it to Yuna and use an Aeon. It would do extreme amounts of damage. Okay, what we're going to do here is use Titus to feel it out. Feel out what is he doing. It's ice, it's fire, okay. And then Yuna. Now, what I suggest doing is if you don't have the overdrive's charged in before, either Grand Summon or Aeon specific, just tank it. Now we're doing this to set the cursor memory. Well, never mind. Let's just take a boost so we can get, boom, turbocharge our overdrive. Because most likely we're just going to, use a different for one shot. Again, it changes elements every time you attack the weakness. I'm throwing kind of risky. Like it's going to be a little risk. So let's do this. Heal up. Huge damage. So every time he shifts, try to get either, Ifrit or Ixion with counterattack. Velfor is actually not bad either because if you have the energy blast, that's a lot of pure damage. Ooh. So watch out for that because that will always do 50% hit points. As far as I know, it works off current amounts of hit points. So after this, I think we're actually going to do a little bit of grinding just because the next sequence, the outdoors as well as the defense of Macalania Temple and then the escape, they all have rough bosses. You can just use a regular attack to... There we go. Okay, it's Ixion. Let's use water. But yeah, there is an upcoming sequence where I would strongly suggest doing some grinding ahead of time because you are going to be going through, let's see, yeah, multiple bosses both in and out of the temple. See on overgot his charge, so we can just blap him. This may actually kill him. I don't remember how many hit points the Spherimorph has, but he's got to be getting pretty close to death. Oh, okay, it's not a kill. Elemental shift. We gotta wait and see what he uses next. Go ahead, heal up while we're here. Okay, or not. Like, nah, son. Hey, this is, I want us any hit points, huh? Go ahead and dismiss, because we don't know what his element is now. Okay, so what we're gonna do is attack again, see if we can provoke. What do we got? Okay, fire, so this is Evrae. He's fired to heal up and get the overdrive charge. This may finish him, actually. There we go. Around 15,000 hit points. And that was a good chunk of XP. Ah, good, level 2 key spear. So, you know, we can open up more of the grid now.
Whoa, this is old.
Jecht.
Okay, so basically what's going on here with the Jecht spears is it's telling a Jecht's, you know, the story of Braska's journey from Jecht's point of view. See? Now you have to go back. It's part of many reasons why. Okay, let's pause there. All right, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. Basically, 10 has quite a few reasons to go back and revisit previous areas. There's a lot of stuff that can only be done after you hit certain story milestones, right? Jecht spears are one of them. Once you defeat Spherimorph, then they go back. You have to go back into previous areas, and not only you have to do that, you also deal with Dark Aeons. Ah, good. So first one gives you Shooting Star. Next one is Banishing Blade. Once again, you only need to go up to. You don't need to get his fourth one, Tornado Fang, unless you want to get achievement. There is an achievement for that. Go ahead and save. So what we're gonna do now is go do some off-screen grinding. So because this next sequence, it has a lot of rough bosses. And if you don't take the time to go ahead and grind, you are going to be in deep trouble. Trust me. You do not want to have to repeat the sequences. It's an annoying sequence. And you want to have built up Aeons because there's going to be a point in one of the upcoming bosses where you're going to want to consider using the Aeon Meat Shield strategy. So we'll see you soon when we get that done. All right, we're back. We've done our off-screen grinding. Here, after the Spherimorph fight, it gets opened up. This is the altar. We can't access it right now because this woman's in the way. And once Macalania Temple and all this gets cleared up, then we can. So up there is where you go with the Cloudy Mirror, and it turns it into the Celestial Mirror. Cloudy Mirror is, if I remember correctly, you obtain it from Remaster Temple in the Chocobo race. I could be wrong on that though. Again, it's been a while. Follow it all the way back here. Quick and easy access to the front. Now this is actually where you come back in the airship. You're coming down here, so it makes it a very quick shortcut back to here when you're doing celestial weapons. Take note of this. This is a location that becomes a focal point of Owaka's story in 10.2. And for the most part, you're not going to get any decent here. Inside, you'll get a secret gear. Whoops. Hang on, this thing's acting good. There. Unusual. There we go. So it's acting odd. I don't know why. Here you can get, mostly junk gear. Most of the time you're going to be getting mostly just junk from here. We do have secret gear because we did wander in here, before. I wanted to go back and show it, so yeah. And those 10% gears, 2 slots, yeah. Mostly you're going to be getting the hit point percentage in order to keep your team from being too squishy. Just notice how everybody's got almost close to 2,000 hit points in some cases. Even Lulu's got 1,500. So we'll get you through the section pretty decently.
Lady, pleasantly.
So you're going to lose a unit for a little while. Oh, wait, that's right. You don't lose unit just yet. So this is one of the bosses in this segment. This changes differently depending on whether or not you have Bhed mastered.
Oh no!
Translation?
He's gonna use an anti-magic field on us.
So that is Rikku's brother, aptly named brother. And when you get access to the airship, he's a recruitable blitzball, character, and he is insanely good.
Cast your spell.
And since she has level 2 spells, she's actually going to be very strong here. Look at that. So, assuming you can keep her alive, she'll drop him pretty quickly. Ah. So we had the Mana Beam to deal with. We're going to switch to Yuna as soon as possible. And the Mana Beam is the Mana Cannon is scary as hell. Yeah, I suggest have an Aeon go into shield mode. Otherwise, the Aeon may not live. We're gonna see how much damage it does. Yeah, it does heavy damage. Ooh, we got the overkill too. But yeah, you want to try to summon Ixion in overdrive. 2 overdrives will drop him because of the elemental weakness. We're not going to skip this because I wanted to show the Al Bhed text.
Milady.
Or Oron didn't get any XP out of that, unfortunately. That doesn't matter because, you know, grinding and everything.
Aistra guardian of Yuna, Wika? Yuna kva, Fafem Kintran, Krak kva.
Tudrek je moha kegden.
I told him I was a guardian. Well, guess I...
How come you speak Al Bhed? Why?
Well,
Because I'm Al Bhed.
Yeah,
And
see,
that
Waka
brother.
is a goddamn idiot.
Why didn't you tell me?
We knew you'd be upset.
This is great. I can't believe I've been traveling with an Al Bhed, a heathen.
You're wrong. We have nothing against Yevon.
But,
You
like,
Al Bhed
dude,
used the forbidden
has he
market.
seriously never looked at her
You know
eyes?
what that means? Sin was born because
The
people
eyes
used
are the
market.
biggest giveaway, and
Yeah,
Al Bhed are almost always
Show me proof.
blonde and had this
It's in Yevon's teaching.
spiral, you know,
Not that you
eyes.
know.
The iris.
It's not good enough. Yevon says this. Can't you think for yourself?
Well, then you tell me.
And again, go back to
Where
what I
did sin
said
come
before
from,
about
huh?
it being, you know, people
don't
feuding
know.
war, not square, hates organized religion. Dude,
You
you can
badmouth
easily
Yevon,
see
and
this
that's
as
all
a
you can come
criticism
up with.
of organized religion, especially
Doesn't mean
Christianity.
you should do whatever they say without... Nothing will ever...
Nothing else.
You want sin to keep coming... There might be a way to...
Sin will be gone
When?
if we keep faith in Yevon.
Why do I...
Rikku. Will this move?
Yes!
And you know,
We're not using that.
funny
are we?
because the Al Bhed were right
Wait.
all along.
Sir Aron is
come on, Waka.
what?
I mean, getting angry. You guys got along fine till now.
That's different.
Well, I don't... And I probably know even less. I know Riku's a good... She's just Rikku.
No.
Just think of this as an opportunity to learn more about the Al Bhed.
Ha!
Let him go. Give him time to think.
I'm sorry.
You've done nothing to
All right.
You sure you know how to drive this?
Better than Kimahri does.
Also, your affection mechanic will determine who your companion is. At this point, it could be either Waka, Lulu, or Rikku, if I remember
Sorry
right.
about Waka.
You just get minor different,
You didn't
different,
have to
different dialogue.
Be so mean, yeah? I almost cried.
Rikku.
Just kidding. It's okay. At least you're still nice. Hey, do I look like Uni, you think?
Huh?
Well, my dad's sister is Uni's mother. You get it?
Ah, I had no idea. If you say so.
Mm-hmm.
Titus is like, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big
Okay.
trouble. Big trouble.
I guess you're guarding your family then.
Yuna's not the only one that I want to protect.
Huh?
We Al Bhed want to protect all of the summoners, you know? Summoners are... Well, you could say that they sacrifice themselves too well to bring
And here's the
happiness to
thing: the
Sphere.
Al Bhed found out what the
What do you
truth
mean?
of final summoning was.
Rikku?
Yes?
Sacrifice themselves?
You know, the pilgrimage. It, takes a lot out of you.
And they're all dancing
Oh,
around it.
right.
And I can't remember what
But you
the
know,
explanation for was.
Yuna's real serious about being a
I
summoner.
know around time of Mount
For Yuna,
Nanarkan,
well,
you know, when the
pilgrimage
truth of the
kinda
final
means
summoning is
everything to her.
revealed.
You are gonna help her too.
I think Titus
aren't
does
you,
call him
Rikku?
out.
So you shouldn't say that Yuna's sacrificing herself. Rikku?
I hope you're right.
Now, again, final Aeon requires sacrifice, and yeah, they're all potentially not telling him the truth. Yeah, we should be seeing that sequence relatively soon. That he calls them out on this. Talk to the Bhed. They're scattered around this area. What is specific zone? Oh, there's only one. Never mind.
Halt! The likes of her are not welcome in this hallowed place.
Dude, look. This is what I'm talking about. Everybody sees she's Bhed right away. Waka doesn't. I get the idea of it, being a dramatic reveal for him, but this is something I think people need to criticize more. That there is absolutely no reason at all that Rikku should not have been busted on sight by him, considering how much he complains about Bhed Machina and the Bhed themselves. He should know what one looks like on sight. They all have blonde hair, green spiral eyes, and they all tend to dress similar for their desert home. This is just like I love Final Fantasy X, okay? Don't get me wrong, I love it, but there are some really, really stupid plot holes in it. This is one of them.
He is a guardian.
An Bhed? A guardian? Preposterous.
I've decided to be Yuna's guardian now. And that's all I want.
And that's all one needs to be a guardian.
Very well.
Amazing how it quickly backed down. I think, well, there's a few reasons why. I think one, Seymour's obviously waiting for them, so he probably would have said something ahead of time to let Rikku through, regardless. Two, Auron. Auron's story is that he's a warrior monk. And he's probably the most famous one. So he probably has, influence and pull, just like how he was able to admit Titus and Rikku as guardians, just because Yuna asked. Not to mention that reputation of his allows him to get a little bit of leeway. But yeah.
Mr. Seymour and I couldn't be happier, even if it was my now victims of sin.
Yeah, I guess.
You're not happy?
If you tell her they're not getting married,
it's
then there's extra dialogue here, where she chastises him for telling her
Do you know where
something
Yuna
different.
is?
I believe she's gone to the cloister.
Lord Jiscal! A sphere in Lady Yuna's belongings.
Now, why was she messing with that?
This may well end.
Now you get to see what Yuna saw.
What I am about, I swear it on. Listen to me very. His mind is, but I can feel flames. He is using Yevon. If he is not stopped, I will. But I do not fault, because I was not wise enough. I could not protect him and his mother. I will but who? I implore you to.
So, like I said, even
Wonderful.
when you first see him, well, the second time you see him in that custom theme, he's bad news, right?
No.
They don't just give people those themes without them being bad
You
news.
saw it, didn't you?
But he's a maester.
Fine. Stay
This
here.
is where Waka's crisis of faith starts.
Come on, Waka.
This can't.
Probably heal up before going in, because this is boss sequence. We're taking on Seymour as well as an Anima. Anima is one you get fight after you get Yuna. Oop. Hey, get back here, Waka.
Hooray!
And this is last minute, you know.
Oh, I hear Lady Una. I wonder if that means she and just like Lady.
Hey, damn it!
Hooray!
All right. So yeah, this is a boss sequence. When you get Una back, you'll be fighting an Anima. Anima, for the most part, is going to be a fight with Aeons. Trust me, you don't want to try a caveman. Yeah, caveman her. She's nasty.
Ron's Bevelle will hear.
Kimahri's up.
Right.
We will protect you. Even
If he is truly at fault,
You know, we'll skip this, but this is actually important to understand Wakka's crisis of faith. Because first off, he's got to deal with Rikku and being in a bed, her not being what the teachings say, and then having to oppose a maester, basically taking on a cardinal.
Seymour!
Please be
With
silent.
Maester
Lady Una
Mika
prays to
being
faith.
the Grand Maester Mika being the Pope.
But why?
We saw Jiskel's sphere.
you killed him.
What of it? Lady Una, certainly you knew of these things, did you not? Well then, why have you come here?
I came to stop you.
I see. You came to punish me then. What a pity. Ah, of course. Protect the summoner even at the cost of one's life. The code of the Guardian. How admirable. Well, if you're offering your lives, I will have to take them.
Maester Seymour.
Look, I'm gonna be honest.
I trust my
Seymour
guardians
as a
with my
villain is
life,
kind of mid.
but they are
He's
also my
he's not
friends.
comparable
I will not
to
stand by and watch them
say
be hurt.
Sephiroth
I
or
will fight
Vayne
you too.
Salvador. That's a badass line, man. Dude, he gets some good lines. That's one of my favorites for a villain ever.
So be it.
And it works for anybody. You could imagine Kefka saying that. You could imagine Sephiroth saying that. You can imagine Kuja saying it. Vayne says something similar. I think Vayne actually does say something similar. And Caius could probably get away with saying that. And, it met Selk has something similar, too. Like, dude, it's such a good line. Now here we got special talk mechanics. In the Seymour battles, some characters will have extra talk where they can get a bonus like a defense up, attack up, and more. Something to take note of, it's only in those specific battles.
You may be a maester, but
Your eyes, they burn.
Unit's defense will go up. which can be useful because he throws down a lot of powerful stuff. Notice the elements. Remember correctly, he's actually casting the level 3 the Goth spells. So to deal with the Guado Guardians, they have a persistent protect spell, and they will always auto potion. You hit them unless you straight up kill them.
I knew you were bad.
Oh, my sincerest apologies.
Again,
Seymour!
he is a mid villain at best, if you ask me. He has such a good response. He seriously gets some good lines. Oh, I remember now. The special summon will come in during the Anima fight. It's not, yeah, because Yuna can't actually use it yet. So Waka, Titus, and Yuna all have special dialogue here.
Maester, we must stop this. This can't be.
Oh wait, sorry, active. Never mind. Sorry. Look. It's been years. I thought you could only come in during the actual fight. So we're gonna save it for the Anima fight because Shiva is actually crazy strong. But what we're gonna do here is actually get Rikku. Now Rikku will shut down the Guado Guardian heal. Constant healing. Heal it, then they can no longer do anything. You still have to deal with their protect spells though. Also, remember what I said a little while ago about her reacting to thunder spells? Yeah. Again, that's like a really good touch they put in. That they put in a reaction to her being afraid of lightning. Thanks for the heal. Sucks to be you. Oh, hell. Oof. Uh-oh. Let's go ahead and sacrifice him here. Wow! Exactly 5,999.
Come, Anima.
So I think that, I never knew that it would do exactly that much. Even if you're overloaded. Probably because of, crap, what game was it we played? I think it was 12 where I pointed out that Square was using something similar to 14, where you will always be forced, depending on certain, the boss, you always see the mechanics because they'll always shift at a certain amount of hit point remaining. That the boss will get invulnerability, or they'll go down to 0.1% and then go into the next phase. So, and then Yuna.
Oh, Faith, lend me strength.
Now, this would be normally when you summon Shiva after that line. But, technically speaking, you're supposed to wait, but you can obviously summon her before then. So yeah, notice their abilities. Heavenly Strike is a fun ability. As a fun fact, this reappears as part of the Shiva movesets for the encounters in 14. I know it reappears for the Reen Shiva, but I can't remember if it does for Ysael Shiva or not. And of course, this does mean it's implied to be carried over to the Savage versions of the Eden's Verse raids, as well as for Futures Rewritten Ultimate. But this is interesting because it shouldn't actually work on Aeon boss. Yeah, see? But it does work on some other bosses. But this is pretty much what Anima does. She'll shift between pain and boost. This is why you want to consider using Aeons exclusively for this, because that pain, it hits hard. You know, you see it do less than 500 damage here, but that's because this is an Aeon with Aeon boat, resist. Generally speaking, Shiva should be enough at this point in order to win. If you don't win, then just switch to a different, Aeon. But generally speaking, you want to have an Aeon out for the overdrive, because Nivea, I don't want to say Nivea back. It does look like kind of like got the wings, huh? But Anima here will, end up, getting that overdrive off sooner or later, because look at her hit points. And if she is going to get her overdrive shield, you will not survive that attack otherwise. Right now we're going to heal. We're going to spam shield until... Actually, she's really close to overdrive. Yeah. So I think 3 more turns she's got, so we're just going to shield ahead of time. There it is, overdrive. Also, the Anima boss in 14 gets this overdrive too, when he gets nowhere near scary. But it did piss poor damage there, but normally that does a lot of damage if you're not in boost. Or even on shield. Sorry, tongue-tied. See, your overdrive does a crumb amount of damage. Right now, you're capped by normal 9,999. When you get break damage limit, for Shiva, it'll be more, but you'll be better. In order to do that, you need to upgrade Lulu's Celestial Weapon. Oh, just end this, I think. Almost. But generally speaking, Shiva should be enough to win the fight if you manage your shield and boost correctly. Also, keep her topped up whenever you get low.
That power that defeated Anima, it will be mine!
Thanks. Also note he gets a hit point replenish. Ooh. Oh, he's done in it. Dunzo now.
You would pity me now?
It's a trick. Get an axe.
Lord Seymour! What happened here?
What have I done?
Wait a minute, it's not our fault at all. Seymour struck first, he's the bad guy.
You did this?
Yuna, send him.
Again, it's a trick. Get an axe.
No, stop! Stay away from him, traitors!
Traitors.
We're finished.
Now hold on just a minute. Seymour's the bad guy, right? We'll just explain to everyone what happened.
It won't be that easy. Let's get out of here.
Now the sequence will start. Well, first off, let's do some leveling work. Ah, black magic spears. Okay, we gotta talk about that. There's a very good, very funny interaction you can do with those. Okay, spear grid. Now note what it says here. Any black magic node already used by an ally. Now you can do this with white magic and some others as well, like special ability spears. This is actually something you can do to completely bypass grinding, in a sense of you can. Okay, let's do an example. Let's say. Okay, let's say you have someone who is all the way over, not here, but right here. Look at it. Or in her Lulu's entry spell, areas. Your level 1 spells. So, and now let's say they're all the way over here, actually. Yeah. So this is pretty far away, right? You're here, and then you use a black magic spear. Now, that means that spear is active. If you get a return spear, that means you can actually teleport to that spear, and you could go into Lulu's grid from there. Here we're actually going to use this to get drained. And most likely you're going to be using it to use a trickery involving Lulu by either giving her drain or by activating it in her grid for somebody else and use that to get to Lulu's grid quicker for magic, defense, and attack. And there's a lot of little tricks you can do like that, because some things like the return spears are easier to get than the master spear or the teleport spears. You can actually use that to jump around and start leveling up a new grid area. We're on got no XP again. Not a big deal because we'll eventually get to the Monster Arena. We're actually not that far away from Monster Arena. You know, notice area is gonna be a little different. First off, they sabotage it, so you have to get back down there. And this marks a shift in the Cloister trials, where the faith and everything is already accessed from the start, but you're recreating the puzzle to get out. Oh, going the wrong way. Just recess the spear. I can't remember which one we were supposed to activate first. All right, good. Couldn't even see that first. Oh, it's been years, but I don't think my eyes degenerate that badly. Yeesh. So you'll see what I mean by this one being a pain in the ass. Still, though, I think this is less annoying. Well, more, I think the Bevelle trials are still less annoying. Like, no, those are pretty awful. Again, I'm starting to get PTSD flashbacks. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. That there. Go back up top side. If you do that, it's gonna take away, yeah. So you gotta get the other one down there. Notice it doesn't do anything. That's gonna be where you need to put the destruction spear, if I remember right. So keep tapping that. There. And that's where you go for the last one. You only be doing when you got the other ones lined up already. There we go. And this is how you do. You want to get out. But you'll see that just activated, so we need to get instructions. Look at that. Bam. So you basically need to repeat the steps you did in order to slide down to begin with. Really wish we didn't have to see that little thing each time. Actually, wait. Remember correctly, you don't need to slide it down. You just need to have the actual thing. Go to the orb. You need to slide it back down with orb or Macalania spear or just that. See, there it is. A luck spear, which is hard to find this early. Those are essential for getting crits and hitting the damn dark aeons. Notice the orb. You gotta do this in order to swap it back. We're done.
Please.
Give us a chance to explain.
No need. I already know what I'll tell the other maesters.
Meaning?
Lord Seymour...
You're not letting it...
let you go.
Wait! Wait! Just go sphere!
You mean this?
Hey!
The Guado.
Oh yeah, Trumbo's kind of an asshole.
Oh, wait. Run!
Now, if you start this, you leave this screen, you'll start getting pursued by guardians who summon monsters to fight.
Here.
Also, dude, just okay, it's selling right away. Dude, look, okay. You see him teleporting out, right? So this is actually, if you're not paying attention, it's actually a clue that the spheres can teleport, but they only teleport you to the airship. Also, I think no matter how fast and expertly you run, you always get forced into at least one encounter. Notice how fast they're moving. You know what I mean? A lot of questions to be asked here. Just summon 8 fiends on the fly. Good thing our Evrae roared it up. We want to save our overdrives here because we are coming up against a boss known to be annoying. There we go. Alright, make sure to regenerate. Yeah, sorry, it's kind of speed going. Getting gamepad shortcuts. So you're going to summon Evrae or whoever you got strongest overdrive, whoever your strongest is, an overdrive. Get rid of the Guado Guardians. And always do your dispel, so you might want to consider using Ixion at some point. Sorry, they always buff on their way out. You may want to consider Ixion. Strip those buffs, because once they're gone, they're not coming back. He puts his hands up, do not attack, as a counter stance. It's also true of certain variants of him later. Okay, because we power broke him, even though he normally will counterattack very hard, but we just did a lot of damage to him. I also wanted to get that power break and show exactly why it's scary. What you're going to do is actually get Walker in, or if you have someone else that's got somehow dark attack. You want to use dark attack instead of dark buster, because you want to keep him blinded as much as possible. Because again, he hits very hard even through that. You also want to consider a unit casting effect as much as possible. That will deviate a lot of it. Note Threaten also works on him. This is why I was saying you want to consider getting that for Auron. Oh, miss. Interesting. I've never seen an ability like that miss. On a friendly. Should have allowed him to cast haste on him. That's unusual. I've never seen that before. Well, I'll have to look up why it would be missing, but it shouldn't. Because normally you could just cast it on him, no problem. Oh, wait, is it targeting unit? Is it? No, that can't be it. I think it's an item. It's gotta be an item, isn't it? Well, let's take a look at his gear after this. Something's definitely wrong. Because there's no reason at all it should be missing. Okay, so that time, dude, I just don't get it. What is causing those missing? It shouldn't be, but maybe something, I don't know, just, I guess there's some kind of goofy interaction that I simply do not remember. But that is definitely bizarre. That was a gear thing, but it's not. Sometimes you can set yourself up to where you can't actually use buff spells on yourself. Mm.
Praise be to Yevon. That's what I would have said.
Okay, that was unfortunate. We got a
We were
weapon
all
for
there,
Rikku. We're not
and in
really
one
using
piece.
Rikku.
Even if...
I think we can turn off the HUD again. Things being goofy. Alright. Okay, so it doesn't remove the filter for this, just sudden flashback. And again, Waka's still having that crisis of faith. There we go, Skip. Jesus. Everything's so fast. You can actually see Jecht inside Sin. Okay. Get the speed back normal. Now this is the big Rikku area. An area where Rikku really shines. But you need to have the item for it. What makes her shine?
I forgive you this time. Be good for a while, okay?
Now, let's pause this so we can talk. Sorry, I needed some water. All right, so this area is the Bikanel Island, and it is on the way to home, which is the Bhed, home base, so to speak. Now, this is actually a great area for Rikku because he is going to be your main healer until you get Yuna back, which is going to be quite a few hours, a couple of hours from now. And you'll be finding a lot of Bhed potions here, which are items that only Rikku can use. They do AoE heal. They also remove poison, petrify, and I think something else. And here you get forced, battles as part of the story. Your party members who join over the course of the fights.
Need some help?
Are you all right?
And also use mega potions or regular potions you need them to. Alright, keep pushing, he's almost gone.
The others?
We're supposed.
Wait here if you want.
Just wonder. Oh, crap! I didn't see what we picked up. May have actually picked up something we're looking for. Oh, what did we pick up? An item. Huh. Did we only found 8 of those and getting these up till now. It must have been that. Oh no, don't tell me we've got a glitch. Okay, we may need to reset this. We can use this as a game over. It enables the game over mode. If something like that breaks, I guess we could just do it that way, huh? Whoops. Every time you reload, it'll do that. Let's see if it does that again. Okay, I think it is. It's a speed up glitch. Let's not do that. Regular speed boost. Let that scene play out normally.
Oh, hey guy, where's you?
Gone.
There's something I want to tell you.
So yeah, let's just let this scene play out normally.
No glaring either. I know where we are. We're on Bikanel Island. There's a place us Al Bhed call home near here. Uni's there, I'm sure of it.
As you might have noticed with the name conventions, the Al Bhed tend to be quite literal.
What does it matter?
That's right. Anyway, I will take you there if you promise that you won't tell anyone about it. Especially not Yevonites, okay? You know they don't like us Al Bhed. Who knows what they'll do if they knew?
Give me a break. What are you accusing Yevon of this time?
Yevon did something really bad to us before.
Well, you Al Bhed must have deserved it.
Ugh. Can't you guys talk about this later?
Just promise you won't tell anyone about this island. Promise?
Waka, come on!
Funny thing is, we're about to deal with Yevon Assault, and I'm not sure it's explained how they knew where it was. There we go, past the glitch. So this is basically, showing Rikku's extra function that she can instant kill Machina units. However, it doesn't work with every single one, only non-bosses. And now you're gonna see the bed potions, right? Well, like I said, they do AOE clearing and heal, stats removal. So until you get Yuna back, Rikku is gonna be your big healer. Honestly, those bed potions are great. It's just hard to get them outside of here. If I remember correctly, Ren does offer to sell them on the Celsius or Fahrenheit, but that's in game, at that point. If we go there, it's a trap. You have to fight the little plant monster in there to get those chests. That sandstorm is something you can't deal with until you get the airship. Okay. Hey, that's weird. Okay, so this is one of the forced ones because you can't really dodge him. By now, Lulu should have access to level 2 magic. So you could be doing a lot of damage to him per turn. And note he's immune to that. So Lulu with decent level up and level 2 magic should be able to just make quick work of them. You can also apply this to other ones too in the area. Just be ready to deal with that confusion.
over here.
Rikku!
And like I said, an assault's already in progress.
What? Yuna's down there.
Of all the places.
Again, how did they know where to go?
Where's Yuna?
So you have some potential encounters in here, but it only happens if you don't have Bhed learned up. You have if you got your dictionary translated through safe transfer, and you're going to be able to solve the puzzles in here very easily.
And the Bhed?
Tidran.
And this entire thing is meant to reinforce the fact that the Yevon Church is a bunch of assholes.
Let's go kick those.
No, the Bhed are honestly innocent. Yeah, aside from the kidnapping, but they're kidnapping to prevent a tragedy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Not only you.
Right.
Now, if you're looking for a level up spot, this is actually not a bad one. However, some of the enemies can be very rough if you don't have Threaten or Auron trained up a bit to access that. What a weird grunt.
Let me break the ice.
Pretty much just let Lulu one-shot these guys. If you have her trained up enough. What's those huge holes?
Rikku, Winensa! Rikku Itando! Eas Majmako! Ultra Fiends Fedrin!
Oh no!
And this becomes a big part of the Al Bhed story in 10-2 to the this restoration of home.
Where's Yuna?
The Summoner Sanctum! This way! We'll be there soon, Uni.
All right. Got one down.
Let's find Yuna, quick!
Over here!
Weird. There we go. There are some rooms in here you can enter.
Not that.
You have to fight. You have to clear the fight. Whoops. There. Trying to get back to normal. So, oh crap! Hit. Yeah, we hit the wrong buttons while trying to speed back to normal. It happens. But yeah, you can see we did a lot of damage with overdrive. Rikku does have extremely good overdrive, and her ability mixes the main ability of Alchemist in 10-2, and Alchemist is honestly just it's absurd. So you can see they have a habit spamming silence until you kill that Guado Guardian. There, no more of that. Dude, dodging everything. Fine, I'll use the remedy again. She's so damn agile with all those spells. Brian.
Time to get down.
And if you didn't somehow still don't have your compilation spirit stuff done, it's another spot to get it from. Really useful considering these are booby trapped. Oh, this is a tough one. I think it's actually out bad. I want to double check this because I think it's a trick question. This is why you want to have your compilation spear maxed out. It's easier to do on the New Game Plus. Is the first answer. Heal. Placement potions. Up. This leads into the final area. So sadly, we missed the other one. There's another one in here we couldn't access for some reason. It's all right. So there are two living quarters here. Be careful going into this area. So it looks like even this, cutscene skip isn't working. Or maybe, I don't know. Yep. Going after Lulu. Right, hold on. There we go. So the speed boost can, the built-in one can be weird sometimes. Jesus, man. Dogpiling him. Something I hate about the, targeting AI in the early Final Fantasy. They love going after weak opponents. You know, people you just revive. Sometimes you can bait it out pretty easily.
Too late to beg for mercy.
All right. There, so that should stop that mess.
I'm pulling out all the stops.
Damn, never get these right. Oh, crap. Well. Unfortunately, there's autosave. That's unfortunate. That can go badly. So it's hard to deal with these guys this early on because most likely your strongest weapon is going to be one that does half damage. So you may want to consider switching to a non-elemental weapon so Titus isn't totally screwed. That's the downside of Brotherhood being so good is that you do eventually run into water-resistant or absorbent enemies. Sweet, we can go back and get the other one. crap, that's right. Just flee.
I'll be right back.
Oh, there it is. It's been a camera angle before or something.
No, not.
Sadly, we still have to build a dual horn here. And you have noticed the dual horns are much preferable because they have way less hit points to deal with. Ooh. Damn, which one do we need? The bomb, merit, you always spawn enemies. The other spawn stuff we don't, not. Probably using elixir more than anything else. Cool. But this time we got it. Sprint spears work like, teleport spears. But they only work on the location of your person there, but you can use strategies similar to what I was mentioning earlier of return spears. So you can put a person at the start of their grid, use a fringe spear, and then you're at the start of that grid. Kind of funny, really. Honestly, you might want to consider getting that bio, because that is a strong ability in the 10 series. Alright, let's try that fight again. Whoops. Oh, we just got the silence touch off somehow. That should cut out some of their more annoying nonsense. You think they don't like Lulu much? He's spamming threaten, honestly. As you can see, it's pretty effective.
Too late to beg for mercy.
There we go. Now we're through this area. This can be annoying if you're underleveled. You shouldn't be. I'm just making some weird calls, but it's fine. Oh. Ah, well. But this is the sequence I was talking about earlier, where Titus calls him out on, you know, hiding it from him. And you can tell the Faith are just like, sorry, man.
I'll find her.
Also, take note. This is actually one of the very few times in this game where you can see the Aeons being summoned outside of a combat scenario, in sense of not being in a battle. You know, we see Anima being summoned, and we see them summoning their Aeons to help defend against the attack. Oh. Ah. I don't think we can back upstairs either. Ah, well. But you could tell Valefor was just wanting to comfort him, but there was nothing she could do.
Odessa, go!
3 minutes, Maft!
Reno, we reach 1 minute!
Where's Yuna?
Ajanuha Upon? Ajanuha, you
I said where? Answer me.
What do you do when you find?
And I told her all those. I've got to tell her. I've got to tell her I'm sorry.
That's it? You're gonna tell her you're sorry.
And this is not a big moment for Titus.
And then you just drag her to Zanarkand and make her fight Sheen, huh? You're all the same. Let the summoner die so we can live in peace.
No!
Ah, words. Show me action.
I'm telling you, she won't die.
Boy, don't forget those words. I'm gonna make you regret it.
I won't. So you know where she is?
Of course not! Using this air...
Be done!
And there's an upcoming FMV, so we're gonna hold off on this. Hold off on the speed skip because it might glitch up again. So we gotta be careful around that. Oh, just skip it. Cool. Come on. And this is a big moment for the Bhed. The Al brother doesn't want to do it, but they have no choice.
No Sate Kanai Kutamae.
What's going on?
We're gonna blow up our home.
How?
With one of the forbidden machina. Ito! Ida! Nadine du Kit. Wat wundank. Frida kut ipwid machina. Ecto lip of diamtaf. Wika?
Hey, look. Don't get so down. Boom! Like happy festival fireworks, yeah?
You can cram your happy festival, you big meanie.
Two things. One, Waka's a moron. Just a complete dumbass. Two, this establishes that the Bhed are not that different from the Yevonites. Since that they had a great incoming moment of great loss and mourning, and they were chanting the hymn of the faith. And it's an early sign. It's another one of those clues that the Yevonites would probably get along just fine if they weren't, so damn stupid about the Machina.
Did you find out?
I'm looking into it, okay? Don't worry, I'm using a sphere cellophane.
A sphere, a scylla?
It's an ancient. I don't know how it works either.
And you still use it?
I don't even rightly know how this. All cause of the Yevon taboo. Ain't it alright?
There's a Comstar joke in here, and an Adeptus Mechanicus one too. Not often I can make the same joke for two different things.
Whether Yuna's safe.
Now, if you explore around the airship, you'll see the summoners are here.
Let it.
Hey, I'm not looking. If only there was some.
Let's think.
Easy. If we had all the time in the. And while we were. Spira doesn't.
Spirit actually does.
However, no matter how.
Even though you'll die.
I've known since. If I do not do it.
Kimahri never.
You notice the Albert Sykes are on the ship. And see if you have Albed learned, you can come over here and talk to them, and they ask forgiveness. There's Rin.
Well, it appears
you were on the.
I came to home, quite the. Thankfully, please let me know.
Yeah, he's mostly selling junk right now. So he sells pretty much the same thing as we saw back in Macalania. When you advance the story to free roam, not for free roam, but when you clear Bevelle, and then then you have access to the airship, which is only after Zenerkin, then his shop changes.
Thank you. All proceed. If there's anything I can.
Ace, wing topped.
Janokut. Wiraja fam.
And this is the first point where you can get the Rin bonus.
Eiko, uluwi goof tranelg.
I still think he sounds like George Takei.
Ace Ribidu.
I wonder if that's intentional.
Rana Innakad.
Now that is why you want to master the language. The sooner you can get, the better. Especially useful in replays, because that means you don't have to run around finding all the primers again. Now the reason why you get that is, check this out. Oh, that's right, it's a weapon. Whoops. So, underdogs give you weapon upgrades. And this is why. So, double overdrive works if you cannot get the triple overdrive ingredient or a weapon that has triple overdrive. You normally would combine this with overdrive into AP to get an incredible amount of AP. We'll be going over this again when we get to the monster arena. So don't worry, we will be going over this again. You have her on a default. No wonder she feels so weak. Yeah, weapons and armor, like I said, don't really matter. Oh, damn. Yeah, should have sat down on her. See, you should actually keep an eye on what weapons are available. Sometimes you might get something very nice.
Look, if it's not an emergency...
Okay.
Wait! What would you think? Show some sympathy.
Oh,
Bitch.
like all the sympathy you showed me.
He's got a point.
You're right. Quitting now would be... Tell Yuna something. Tell her she's still... Tell her she'd better do...
And Donna pretty much does nothing for the rest of the story. You do see her at the Xenarkin ruins, but find out Eon's gone by then. So she's pretty much gotten there for nothing. Here are more of the sites. So pretty much wander around the ship, talk to people, get the bones from Rin.
After rescuing, you want to keep her. Would you seek to stop her?
First, we
Been a while since we saved.
First, we rescue Yuna.
Vitran!
Frana!
Effen!
And now we are going to Bevelle.
Yuna!
What we're seeing here is the equivalent of a shotgun wedding for Spira.
Where was that?
Less emphasis on the wedding and more on the
Palace
shotgun.
of St. Bevelle, heart of...
Gramps, let's...
Easy, kiddo. Bevelle's defenses...
What's the matter, Gramps? Yuna's there. And that's all.
You got guts? God, Louie, could you Bevelle?
Nunca!
It'll take a while to get to Bevelle. Meanwhile...
We prepare for...
They grabbed Yuna, one of the Guados.
What, Seymour? Didn't we...
He is dead. His attachment to this world.
Whoa.
Yuna must...
Wonder if that...
Perhaps...
Yeah! We're gonna...
Make your supper!
The city of Bevelle is built. You or Rikku should...
And that is actually warning. There are two, potential bosses in there.
Okay and...
It's called a wedding.
What?
Bevelle.
Those Yevon rockheads.
Oh, Mook!
We are being attacked. Some of the Guado that it...
You're awfully
I am calm about most.
fiends. There's nothing to do but...
But destroy the ship and all go down together.
Huh?
You gotta learn a little restraint. If you crash the ship, We can't go rescue Uni. Leave the fiends.
The funny thing is, she's kind of the level-headed one compared to him, but she goes full airhead and into it's weird.
Good luck.
You guys want to come over here, bring the ions? Because we could use them. You don't have Yuna. Ah, yeah. So here's the first fight. So we will see this guy again in underwater area.
What is that? The guardian worm, Evrae. The great sacred beast.
Wait, that means...
Rikku, we're gonna get on deck. Go!
There he goes.
The ferryman. Open the hatch.
Evrae is...
Despite not being in the party, you can actually put weapons and armor on her. I don't know how that works.
We gotta... If we lose...
I have faith.
Gee...
We gotta keep our distance, boys, but y'all have to... But tell me quick, huh?
Roger, I'll give...
Not alone, you won't.
Might want to also have a stone resist, because he hits hard on that. And Rikku does have stone touch on it, so Rikku would not be a bad idea here. Friggin' ow. Ooh, that's really bad. Keep topped up. The less you know, you have to. Oh, sorry. The less time you have to spend healing, the better. But generally speaking, you want to pull back when he starts doing his poison breath. It hits hard. Yeah, it's a little too smart. Alright, so we're doing 1200 damage per round. He's almost down, though. This gets easier. You can come into it, obviously, with overdrives. So you basically want to pull it back when he's doing his poison breath. Unless you know, you can just caveman it, so.
Go close!
Just a minute!
Also, Evrae can and will force you to go back in if you don't do it ahead of time. Mostly via this, because he will, force you to do it out of range, because if you go to stay at range, both of you attack. Now, if I remember correctly, it's not less force than, encouraging. Whereas I think then or later penance will force you to go to close range. Oh, that's a thing. I forgot he could do that. Better pop healing now and tank it. Ah, nice. So if you spend, so the characters will learn overdrives at different rates. Melee attackers like Oron and Titus will learn the warrior mode faster than others. Oh, crap. Well, didn't realize that I will. We're going to come back when we get him down to low hit points. I screwed that up. Okay, so we're back. Now, here's something I didn't realize before, since it's been so long since I fought Evrae. First off, let's take a look at his debuffs. The power break, but you can also mental break him. So if you grind Oron up enough, you can actually make it to where you can put Lulu in, and she can spam drain over and over for solid, reliable, quad-digit damage. Usually at least 1,500. Right now we're only doing 1,200 because she's a little bit further behind than others. But you can do that, and basically keep refreshing buffs. Keep refreshing haste. You can also use slow on him to nullify. To get more turns on him early before he can, you use slow, you get ahead of him, and that means you get more damage in on him before he hits the threshold to cast haste. So let's first off heal up. And we end up conserving a lot more supplies this time around. You also want to consider putting Serum Ward on your bracers. On your armor, because the chance to nullify the poison keeps you from having to go back and forth on the airship. You can also use the airship area to level up. We end up getting blitz ace. So yeah. Lulu might be able to finish this. You can still use your spells from a distance. There it is. So this is actually a hard fight or an easy one if you know you can slow and break him. So basically pop power break and pop mental break, and then use Lulu spam to just keep cheesing with drain. Low cost, and it does the same damage to your elemental spells, but without the mitigation of elemental resist. Oh. You know, realize we had that. Yeah, we were doing grinding. Got to turn that off. Yeah, well. Honestly, why is it they? I just don't understand. Why did they not put that in? And unfortunately, we can't skip this. And I think if we try to, it's going to glitch it up again. Okay. So this is a scripted sequence. Bunch of weaklings, so
Chill, there's no rush.
If you've gotten Slow God, this is a great segment to use it in. Get free turns. Watch out for the flamethrower dudes, they're going to hit hardest. Also, notice they're using Macalania. I suggest going for the flamethrower guys first. When the Macalania starts spawning, you might want to send a Rikku in and quickly kill. Oh, right. So the Yevon Macalania are not subject to that, but ones out in the wild are. Yep, I forgot. And that comrade mode is actually very useful. It's a key component of the overdrive exploit. Well, I shouldn't say exploit, it's the key strat for quick again. Again, we'll go into that when it's time.
Now I'm mad.
Damn. Yeah, this is why I'm saying get rid of the flamethrower guys first. They can be a pain in the ass. overkill for a low-level spawn, but yeah, it's also fun. About sending a message. Notice how little damage she took versus them. It's considered, you know, we think it's physical, but it looks like it's considered magic. Yeah, we could probably leave the rest. Well, we could put Kimahri in. Kimahri at this point can be very strong, actually. I mean, we've been leveling him up a bit. Notice you can't retreat. You straight on fighting. Consider trying to use AoE to quickly clear these, especially if you can't prioritize the flamethrower monks. Those guys are obnoxious. Otherwise, you can just use auto attacks. Okay, we got Warrior back. I didn't notice that. Good. Actually, you should go ahead and just put him on that, unless you have specific setups, because Warrior is honestly the best for people who are going to be attacking a lot, like, you know, Titus and Oron, yeah. Crap! I do not know what just happened here. Oh, sorry. These things went nuts on me. Oof, okay. I do not know what just happened here, so I think we just got turbocharged it, right? Ah, so he can do that, and it's a pain in the ass. So yeah, hang on, let's get this thing under control. There we go. So yeah, this mod can, if you're not paying attention, it will just go nuts on you.
See ya.
Yeah, so be careful when you start to install the mod. It does offer a lot of quality of life, but it can just go nuts. You got a couple more waves and then it's finally over. Take note, enemies in the back will not be hit by those because they're considered on a different line. That makes any sense. And that's the last wave before the story takes over.
This has gone far enough.
Stop.
Kill them.
I am sorry, but it is for Yevon.
Aren't those weapons forbidden?
And this is what I was talking about.
There are exceptions.
See? No, it's not how corrupt the church actually is.
No! Throw down your weapon. Don't worry.
Also, kind of unclear whether or not that marriage was actually legally binding. After it got out, he was on scent. He was annulled, but I mean, did they ever talk about divorce or anything? I would skip this, but I just want to show why he's a dumbass. Titus is a dumbass. Like, dude, she literally has an Aeon transport. Like, some of these guys are just so damn dumb. She literally has an Aeon that flies, and she summons Bevelle without needing to do the ritual or anything, which again brings its own questions. Is the ritual actually necessary, or is it just there for show?
That Seymour.
We'll join.
Breakthrough.
Where'd Uni go?
Bevelle Palace.
The Chamber of the Fate.
And here we have the Chamber of the Faith. Oh God, this is annoying area.
A trap?
I think that the Bevelle trials are actually probably the most annoying, but they're also the last ones you need to do, assuming you don't need to go back and do a previous one. Had we not messed up, had I not messed up with the Bevelle, sorry, the Bethesda one, this will be the last one you need for Anima.
I suppose it.
That's not what I need.
And this is annoying because you had to change directions multiple times on certain levels, and it can really mess it up. You have to do precise timing. Also note, you got your put 2 in here. And you are going to need to keep 2 in there for to move around and to get them where you need to get them. Don't want to go down here just yet, but timing is. This is why the Bevelle one is honestly the most annoying one. I know I said before, but yeah, it's a pain in the ass. You need to get this. When you get to a crossroad like that, at least it will let you, pick it normally. But otherwise, you have to do timing when it's on a, non-crossroad. The camera is just not your friend here. Ah, crap. Wrong way. So yeah, this is why Bevelle is annoying. There's a glyph here over there too. Can't use it because we got these in play. They could just, make it much more easy to control, and I think that would cut down a lot of the annoyance in this area. Damn it. But that's what I'm talking about. The timing is pain in the ass. You gotta be careful. Here we hit that time. Yeah, don't Do not feel bad if you miss it. It's timing based and it can be incredibly annoying. Let's try it this way. We gotta slow it down. Usually, I don't know. I'm not sure actually. Sometimes, sometimes if when it looks like it slows down when you get back on it, and then it picks up speed. Probably why we're missing it so much. There we go. Barely got it. Need to go back and get the glyph spear. The destruction spear is lower down, if you remember right. Once again, this is normally the last one. I really wonder why these cloisters exist to begin with. Can't just make a straight shot to the face, huh? That's to be annoying. On. Wait. Oh, wonder. Walk over. Dude, that's how long it's been. That was one we pushed over for some reason. Like I said, this is the only one of the cloisters that requires this. That we can just swap, like, although that would make sense to be able to swap. You gotta go all the way back up. You can't just change it in the hand. No, you have to go all the way through this hell. So we gotta go back up. good at the timing, then it's going to be very quick. I'm not sure what we just did. It's been so long. Back down we go. Oh no. Well, what I hate about this segment, man. An unnecessary segment is platform stuff. It's a good thing that this thing is disabled in Gen 2. There, reset it. Oh, it's a glyph spear, isn't it? Well, we gotta go all the way back up and get it. This is just tedious. That's what the problem with the Bevelle thing is. It's tedious. And it's telling that they never repeated something like this again. Oh, man. Wait, didn't we? Oh, that's right. We got knocked down. Didn't we? Dude, that's how tilting this area is. I thought we got that already. We gotta go back up and try again to get over there to get the glyph spear. This area is just tilting. Did I just imagine he picked up speed? I didn't turn the speed boost on. And the built-in one does not work, so you have to use a mod for it. hammering it, but this is honestly, like I said, it's the most annoying one. We just spammed it. Hammering it. Oh, the glyph spear got consumed. I need to put the Bevelle spear down there. Probably need to put that destruction spear back down, don't we? We'll look up where we're supposed to put that, because I honestly do not remember. Okay, so we go back to the glyph spear's location, then put the destruction spear there. So, yeah. That's what we were doing wrong. Damn it. Got this problem again where we have an extra spear. We got dude, which again, because you know, Square just can't say, "Oh, we can swap in place." We have to do it this way. This is part of why the cloisters are so damn tedious. You had to move them around. Main thing would have been to allow us to swap in place. We need to put it further down. Why does it pick up speed? That's what I want to know. Why does it pick up speed? Just move slowly, it would be so much better. Probably a mod or something somewhere. I don't think there's a setting in this one where control the lift speed. Now we can finally complete this trials. Pain in the ass, by far. I was wrong about what I said earlier about Macalania. I'll do it back in the second or first VOD of this. Bevelle's the worst. Of course, I was the wrong way, huh? Damn amazing. Now, you go back and get the second spear, you get access to another treasure here. Huh. Oh, right, you pulled the tile up, that's what. And that is the one that's actually required for Anima. But yeah, if you don't have a spear, it won't go through. It's just it's a night lance, and it's something you can easily get later from customization or just a drop.
Inside, maybe?
You'll notice he looks familiar, doesn't he? See him in a cutscene, and he's he shows up, in some of the flashbacks. If you know where to look.
They are human souls, the dead.
Bahamut, this is the Bahamut faith, and he's more or less the leader of the Aeons in this game.
Yuna!
The High Court of Yevon is now...
And this is the big reveal to the Bronzo Maester that the church is corrupt as hell. We're going to save here. And we're going to pick it up here next time. This is actually a good level up spot for Yuna because she is going to be very behind as compared to your other people at this part. And Bahamut is very strong. So we're going to be doing off-screen grinding. To catch her up. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.